Today's video is going to be all about safety. As our industry is growing, which is absolutely amazing, but what I am noticing is the care for safety appears to be lowering somehow, and it's a little bit worrying. Okay. So a little experiment that I'm going to do. In here I've got some glow powder, which is used in education to show how we spread germs. Now I don't know how well you're going to see this, but what I've done is just rubbed a small amount on my hand, and then if I place the light over it, you can see where I've rubbed it. So what we're going to see is if I tattoo with this, does it transfer inside of my machine, so that we can test for backflow. So I'm going to just undo this, and I'm just going to show you that it's not been used yet, so there is currently nothing showing up inside of here. That's just the light there. So I haven't used it yet, there's nothing in there, and there should be nothing on here. Okay, so I've put my needle on, I've put my little membrane in. I'm just gonna pop that back over the top and then pop a tip on. And let's plug this in. I'm just gonna tattoo for a little while with the orange solution, and we will see what happens. If you are using unsafe equipment knowingly, you have to bear in mind, under the Health and Safety at Work Act, it is law that we keep our clients as safe as possible. In my eyes, I just think, why take that risk? Why not use the safest possible equipment that you can use and ensure your clients are kept safe at all times? I know we have machines that we prefer to use for, we use for different techniques, we get different finishes with them, but safety really should be at the top of everyone's list. Okay, so I'm just changing my gloves, because once we have a look at where this pigment has gone, I don't want to be contaminating again with any that may be on my gloves. So I'm just going to turn the light off because it may be easier to see. So you can see there isn't any currently on my gloves. I've just put fresh gloves back on. We can see where it glows up, the pigment. I mean, look, I've even got spots of it over here, and all I've done is tattoo the mat. So it's amazing how stuff actually travels. You can see there's some over there, splatters down my ink cup and on here. Yeah, I was tattooing all the way over there. So just to show you how it travels. So we can obviously see there's loads in the ink cap. You can see, I don't know how well you can see it in the camera, but I've got splatters all down my grip. This is exactly why it's important to wrap our machines fully, because I've got contamination all over this grip. Okay, so let's take our machine apart and let's have a little look. I'm just going to lift this off. You can see the membranes come loose. And let's have a look how far down our needle that's actually travelled. So you can see it's gone quite far down. It's even reached the little membrane that's just popped out. So this would be ink. So it's travelled, splurted all the way down to where that membrane is. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see that in the video because of the reflection, but right along this bottom part here on the inside is a load of orange speckles. So that shows me that even with that plastic membrane in place, the ink has still travelled and splattered on the inside of my grip. And this is the inside of my grip from where my plastic needle tip goes, and it is absolutely covered. So for me now, this grip would need to be thrown in the bin. So if you are using this machine, the Giant Sun, you should really be changing all of this casing every client. Okay, so let's try the Valhalla next with a micro PMU acupuncture. So I'm just gonna pop the light on so you can see, obviously I've not used it yet. Let's undo the grip actually and just show you that. See, you can see my grip is clean, and inside the top of the machine is also clean. Okay, so same solution, give it a little mix up, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. Okay, so obviously this is not a proper scientific experiment. This was just me trying to find a way to physically show you how backflow is possible. It should be something that is taught in your beginner training. You should know this from day one. You should know your no-touch technique. You should know about backflow. You should know, how to test your needles, about machines. Yet, unfortunately, it's just something that gets brushed under the carpet far too many times. Okay, so I've been going for 5 minutes with this, and I'm going to turn the light off again so we can have a little look. So you can see here actually where I didn't change my gloves from the last one. You see the orange that's on my grip. Obviously again, just to highlight, this is why it's so important to fully wrap your machine. So this is where I've been tattooing. So let's have a look at the casing. So I've got a little splatter on my casing down here. You can see, and other than that, it's pretty much just in the tip of the needle. So there's absolutely nothing in the back end of that cartridge. So it's pretty much just in the very tip of the needle. And I've got some splatters on the outside, you can see. But down here, which is the important part that's going into our machine, is currently still clean. Okay, let's have a look inside our machine. So the grip is clean. I'm just gonna take that grip off because it'd be easier to have a look. Bearing in mind not to touch the inside. So it's still nice and clean here. The only bit I can see is from earlier on the top of the grip that I touched with my gloves. And then let's flip it over and look under here. So completely clean, nothing in there at all. Let's just check the inside of the machine now as well. Okay, so inside of the machine is still absolutely clean as well. Amazing. So that's the micro PMU acupuncture cartridge. Let's give it a go with another one while that's nice and clean still. And I'm going to pop a new cartridge in that only actually has a partial membrane system. So again, just to show you, the cartridge hasn't been used yet. It's still free from any marks. So let's just have a little go and see what happens with this one. So same solution again, I haven't changed this at all. Just gonna pop that light back on while I do this bit. So we can. Okay, so let's turn that light back off and let's have a little look at the results with this needle. So I just want to show you, just even from wiping, it's really hard to pick it up in the camera, but I actually have orange all over my gloves here. So
I can get the light so can you see it glowing on the top of my finger and then just down my first finger? So that's where I was wiping and holding the wipe. This is why the no touch technique is so important, because if this glove was now contaminated and I start touching my glasses, I'm pushing my hair out my face, I'm picking up some more pigment, or basically touching anything that's not going in the bin after this treatment or that's not wrapped, I'm now going to transfer this onto all of those objects. And then I'm working on my next client and I touch the same thing, I'm going to be at risk of transferring it back to another client. So the no touch technique, you must adhere to it at all times because particles travel so easily. I mean, look, even over here, they're all over here, yet I'm tattooing here. It's so, so important. Okay, so let's have a look at this one. So this is on the outside of the casing, actually, where I've just laid it on top. So we can see the ink's pretty much just travelled again, a little bit further down than the micro PMU, but not by much. So can we see this lower part of our cartridge is got loads in the bottom and also on the plunger bar. Just got to get the right angle so the light picks this up, but it's literally travelled all the way to the bottom this time with a different cartridge. So that's all over my gloves now. I'm just going to pop a new glove on just before I take the machine apart, because again, I don't want to cross-contaminate with a dirty glove in case it's come off my glove and not through the cartridge. Grip still looks clean. Which is good. So although it has travelled to the lower part of the casing, my grip doesn't appear to have anything on the inside. Bearing in mind I have only been using this for 5 minutes, not 2 hours. Let's have a look at our plunger. Plunger looks clean as well. The inside of the machine looks okay. So what I'm going to show you now is just another quick little test that we can do with our cartridges. So I can't squeeze any more orange stuff into here. So what I'm going to do is just squeeze a little bit of water into that cartridge and whoa. I was going to say and continue plunging it to see if anything leaks out the bottom. But you can see I don't even need to start plunging it because it's absolutely pouring out of the bottom. And this is what happens when we only have partial membrane. So eventually that would have backtracked into my machine.
Okay, so the next pen we're going to try is a PMU pen. This pen also takes acupuncture needles, so I've just popped one in here. And I'm just going to show you again quickly that obviously this hasn't been used yet with the test. So we can see there's nothing in here, nothing on here. So let's tattoo and see what happens. Okay, so let's take this away, turn the lights off and have a little look what's happening inside of this machine. Okay, so first I'm going to check on the actual part that grips my needle. Okay, so it doesn't look like anything has actually travelled back into the handpiece itself, which is great. This is the needle that I've used.
So you can see actually the ink has stayed at the very top of the needle. As I come down, nothing's travelled any lower than the tip. This is the cap that I used. So we can see that it's all in the cap. So it's travelled right to the bottom of the cap. You can see it lighting up in there. But the cap would obviously be disposable, so I'm not too stressed about that. Now I have got a little spot inside, I don't know how well you can see this, inside of the actual grip. I'll turn this over, let's look inside. So no ink has actually splashed off to the inside of the grip other than this very little top bit. So what I'm going to do is unscrew this part to see a little bit better on this part of the grip. Okay, so in the very nozzle of this, there is a line of pigment or glow gel all the way down. So that's obviously where these are so tiny, the needle is pushing up against this part. So there's a whole line. So this part of the grip is would be contaminated. This part of the grip is actually completely clean. Now, all of this part can actually be autoclaved on this machine. So it's still not the safest. Obviously, cartridges with full membranes will prevent any backflow on any part of your machine. If you was using this machine, then 100% you would need to be autoclaving the grip after every client, because you can see there is backflow in this part of the grip. So cross-contamination would be quite a high risk if you're not autoclaving.
So I was just trying to find a way to physically show you how easily particles can travel through your machine. And this is glow germ. It's a powdered substance mixed with water. So, you know, microscopic organisms are going to be even smaller and will probably travel much, much easier. So I'm not here to pass judgment or to badmouth anybody using these kind of machines. I just think it should be public knowledge that safety may be an issue with them. If you want to take that risk and you love the machine and you want to use it, absolutely fine by me. Again, I'm not here to pass judgment. I'm just here to demonstrate the risks, and so that you can make an informed choice when you are picking your equipment. So once again, I don't know how accurate this is. Obviously I'm tattooing at the minute with glow germ, not pigment and not in real skin, but it was the only way I could think of to be able to physically see if there is traces inside of my machine, because as we know with our naked eye, we wouldn't be able to see. It may be clean from pigment, but we don't know what else could be in there. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a shout as always. And I hope it's just maybe opened a few eyes. If anything, we really do need to make our industry a safer place, and it starts with us